Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel. Okay, so today we are going to discover a new region about the 20 regions of Italy episodes. And today we are going to find out and to discover more about Sardinia region. So after Apulia in alphabetical order, we went through, now we're going to Sardinia, and into the next episode we are going to cover Sicily. Okay, now let's start reading. Sardinia, a journey to the island of the Emerald Sea, Nuraghi, unspoiled nature and millenary tradition. Crystal clear waters, beaches of soft, white sand, granite rocks framed by wild, fragrant Mediterranean scrub. Welcome to Sardinia, an island of thousand contrasts that will also seduce you with its unique archaeological heritage and its people innate sense of hospitality. I have to agree. Anyway, Sardinia is simply a beautiful region. I have to say that it's one of my favorite regions here in Italy. And so people are extremely friendly and warm and welcoming. So whoever is traveling to Sardinia will always face a really welcoming people. Okay, no, now let's start from the region itself, and let's start from the capital of the region, that is also a province. So we are talking about Cagliari. So the city of Cagliari, there is also the airport, so easy to commute. And Cagliari, it's also a must to be visited here in Sardinia. Then we have the province of Carbonia. Now, Carbonia takes the name from coal. This is particular, charcoal, coal, because in Italian coal we call it carbone. And so Carbonia, because was an ancient place where there were mines of coal, so this town took the name from the coal and it's called Carbonia. So very particular name. So then going northern direction, we have Oristano province, facing east of the island. Then going western direction, we have Nuoro province, that is a quite big province anyway, facing the eastern part. So Oristano is facing the western part of the island, and Nuoro is facing the eastern part. Also here Nuoro is well known because there are plenty of these €1 houses for sale. Recently, the CNN in the United States were talking about a town called Ololai, which I actually also made a video. And it's based here in Nuoro province. And then we have Sassari. Sassari is the northern province, quite big, beautiful, very famous, very touristic area, kind of also famous for the posh tourism, uh, talking about Emerald Coast, but so on. We'll investigate and we will find out more while we're reading. Okay, here we can see some pictures, beautiful places, full of history, mountains, food, traditions. So it's an island not to be missed. Okay, now let's go to read our article here, and let's start reading. So, Sardinia, land of Emerald Sea, Nuraghi, and millenary tradition. Okay, now it is known the world over for its emerald sea and white beaches, even though the heart of its territory is predominantly mountainous. Welcome to Sardinia, a land of contrast, superb nature, and millenary tradition. Now, here, for example, we have a map of Sardinia. Let's just zoom out just to show you where exactly Sardinia is for who is not familiar. So basically is in the center of the western part of the Mediterranean Sea. So Mediterranean, we have the eastern part with Cyprus, Crete, And then we have the western part of the Mediterranean with Sicily, Sardinia, Corse, and the Baleares Island, like Palma de Mallorca, the Spanish islands. Okay, so let's start and let's go to read the origins and history of Sardinia. Now, located in the center of the Mediterranean, Sardinia has been an important port of call for civilization on its shores. Particularly important for the history of the island was the Nuragic civilization from the Bronze Age onwards, which has left exceptional evidence in the area. 8,000 Nuraghi, ancient stone constructions with a truncated cone shape. Now, let me spend two words about the Nuraghi. These are very, very old constructions. There were no homes. This type of construction is still not very, very clear the reason why they were built. Someone is saying that they were built just to see from the sea. Someone is saying that there were kind of graves. So there's a lot of speculation because about the origins of the Nuraghi. I will recommend you to check. And so it's different from Trulli, for example, because Trulli you can actually live, but in the Nuraghi nobody was actually living. The most significant specimen is Sunuraxi in Barumini, but there are many other well-preserved nuraghi scattered around the island, as well as other valuable vestiges of the past, the tombs of the giants, the burial monuments from the Nuragic period, the Domus Deianas, prehistoric tombs carved into the rock, the menhirs of Sardinia, mysterious vertical stone driven into the ground, similar to this one that we see here in this picture, for example, and they can also remind, for example, of Stone Age or some historical place like in Ireland as well, for example, typical of the Northern European culture anyway, to have the menhirs. But it's also possible to find many here in Sardinia. The Nuragic were warriors and navigators, shepherds and peasants divided into tribes, who engaged in important trade with peoples from the Mediterranean as far as Libya. During the Giudicati era, from the 9th century onwards, when Sardinia was divided into four independent Giudicati, the island underwent an attempt at Muslim conquest by Mujahid al-Amiri, a military and political figure from the Islamic Spain, which was foiled by the Sardinians, by land and by fleet of the maritime republics of Pisa and Genoa. Yeah, because anyway, Sardinia always been connected with the lands around the island itself, from the Italian side and from the Spanish side and from the northern North African side. Another fundamental historical phase for the island was that of the Kingdom of Sardinia, established by Pope Boniface VIII to resolve the crisis between the Crown of Aragon and the Duchy of Anjou. At the end of the War of the Spanish Succession, the Kingdom of Sardinia became the domain of the Habsburg of Austria and was then ceded to the Duke of Savoy, Victor Amadeus II. In 1847, there was the fusion of Sardinia with the House of Savoy and the extension of the Statuto Albertino to the island. Now, Statuto Albertino was the very first modern constitution made by the House of Savoy when they, after the Duke of Savoy, they made the Kingdom of Sardinia before the Kingdom of Italy. And so, Statuto Albertino is famous to be the first constitution. 14 years later, in 1861, the Kingdom of Italy was born from the Kingdom of Sardinia. All right, now let's keep reading here and let's see what they're saying about the cities. Sardinian main cities. Start your visit from Cagliari, the main city and capital of the island, located in the south in the so-called Gulf. For the people of Cagliari, the name is Casteddu, meaning castle, as in the fortified medieval quarter perched on a promontory that is the first thing you will see if you arrive from the sea. Now, you will discover the rest little by little, because in the shade of towering palms and jacaranda trees, Cagliari jealously guards what the many civilizations of the past have left. You will recognize the traces of the Punics in the necropolis of Tuvixedu, the Romans one in the beautiful amphitheater, the Byzantine ones in the Basilica of San Saturnino, those of the Phoenicians in the 13th century cathedral, and those of the Piemontese in the bastion of Saint Remy, erected at the end of the 19th century. You certainly cannot miss the Puerto Beach for a dip into the crystal clear waters that slowly slope down before becoming deep, some running along the pedestrian promenade dotted with Caribbean palm trees, or an aperitif or dinner almost pied en lieu in one of the many venues dotted along the shoreline. Exactly on the other side of the island, to the northwest, is Alghero, founded in the 12th century as a fortress city by the Genoese. It suffered Aragonese rule that influenced its art and traditions. When we are talking about the Aragonese, we are talking about the Spanish influence over the island itself. Now, don't miss the Spanish towers and the Genoese defensive walls, nor the sun and sea bathing in the small beaches surrounding the town, the shopping of coral jewelry in the old town center, a handicraft of excellence for which Alghero is world famous, and its unbridled nightlife. Among the centers most frequented by tourists, Olbia capital of the glittering Costa Smeralda and gateway to the picturesque Gallura region and back south. Sant'Antioco, a small municipality on the islet of the same name connected to the mainland, beloved for its secluded beaches, don't miss Porto Flavia, a wild nature. Talk about pristine environments and breathtaking beaches, Cala Golorizze, in the Gulf of Rosé, is considered one of the most beautiful spots in the world, as is Cala Luna, 800 meters of fine golden sand that plunges into the clear blue sea. Something more one of a kind in other aspects is Barumini, home to Sunuraxi, the largest Nuragic village in the whole of Sardinia, built with ancient volcanic stones from the area. Okay, what to see in Sardinia for unmissable stops? The biggest dilemma in Sardinia is choosing what to see. The good news is that whatever you decide, you will not be disappointed. However, there are some destinations that cannot be missed, starting with the famous Costa Smeralda, which stretches 55 kilometers of enchanting beaches, granite rocks, and crystal clear waters along the coast of Gallura, from Porto Cervo to the Gulf of Cugnana, at the beginning of the municipality of Olbia, a wonder that extends to the entire northeastern coast from Golfo Aranci to Porto Rotondo to San Teodoro. Just as much beauty characterizes the delightful town of Stintino, in the province of Sassari, famous for the Pelosa beach, blue water, shallow waters, and views of the island of Asinara. Costa Paradiso, also in the north of the island, beloved for its small and picturesque center of Castelsardo and Isola Rossa, and the island of La Maddalena, the heart of the so-called archipelago. A former military base, it is the largest and only inhabited island within the magnificent Maddalena Archipelago National Park. Okay, now Sardinia's unusual places for destinations. Let's read. If you like to get away from the beaten track, head for the Penisola del Sinis, a strip of land in the protected area of the same name that is the true nature sanctuary where you can enjoy all kinds of open air activities throughout the year. The small beach of Porto Flavia, on the other hand, overlooks the crystal clear sea beside the remains of the mining structure, surrounded by a cool pine forest. Attracting attention here is the old mine that is no longer in operation, a port suspended in the middle of a cliff face, overlooking the coast and from which a very long tunnel starts. Or visit the Sardinian desert of its Arena Biancas. In the southwest of the island, the dunes of Portofino, a kilometer of sandy hills shaped by the wind that reach a height of 30 meters. So it's particular to see that even in Sardinia there is this tiny desert. So if you want to experience the desert without going out of Europe, Sardinia is the place that might do for you, might suit for you. Or in Castelsardo, in the province of Sassari, the Roccia dell'Elefante, Elephant Rock, a large rust-colored boulder of volcanic origin, eroded by time and wind until it looks like a real seated elephant dominating the valley. Very interesting. Then Sardinian typical products, five specialities. Now here we can see a slice of pecorino cheese. So one of my favorites, I have to say, between all the pecorinos, I think Sardinian pecorino is simply top. It's a must to try. The traditional Sardinian cuisine is so rich that it would merit a very long digression. Start with the culurgiones, potato, cheese, and mint ravioli, typical of Ogliastra. So beautiful they look like they are embroidered. Or the Sardinian fregola, a preparation of durum with semolina and water, to be served with mussel and arselle, shellfish or sausage, and artichokes. Among typical Sardinian products, you must of course try the pane carasau, saltine that is no more than 3 millimeters thick, perhaps accompanied by a Sardinian pecorino, the king of cheese on the island. Anyway, pane carasau is a typical bread made here in Sardinia that you also can soak in the water, very thin, very hard, crusty, but then if you soak it in the water, it turns very, very soft. Um, okay, to end in style, a small glass of Sardinian myrtle. On top of all the Sardinian wines, for example, there is Canonau wine that is very, very worth it to try. But Sardinian myrtle, a typical liqueur obtained by alcoholic maceration of myrtle berries. They are similar to blueberries, but myrtle berries. Events in Sardinia, an opportunity not to be missed. And let's see. Now, there are numerous appointments with the millenary traditions of Sardinia. We recommend Sassartiglia, one of the last equestrian tournaments of medieval origin in the Mediterranean area, held in Oristano on the last Sunday and Tuesday of Carnival. Now, few words to spend here about the carnivals here in Sardinia, because Sassartiglia is not the only very particular carnival celebrated here on the island, but nearly each town has its own particularity that really worth to be known and to be visited to live this type of experiences. Then I also want to spend few words about the Sardinian language. Now, Sardinian language is very unique. It's also considered a language in Italy itself. So, in Italy, according to institution, we have two languages. One is Italian and one is Sardinian. All the other one are considered dialects. For example, the Napolitan, the Sicilian, the Piedmont dialect. They're all considered dialects. They are not considered languages. The Sardinian one is a language, even if it's not taught in school. No, they're not teaching Sardinian language in school, but it's well preserved anyway in the Sardinian culture, in the Sardinian families. All the Sardinian people that I know, they were very, very proud to speak anyway Sardinian. It's a very, very interesting language, also because it doesn't really have many connection with the Italian language. That's why it's considered apart, something singular, something very particular. Okay, my friends, so I hope you enjoyed the video about the 20 regions of Italy explained by Italy, a place to love. This time we covered Sardinia. And so I'll wait for you to the next episode about the 20 regions of Italy explained. And the next episode will be about Sicily in alphabetical order. And anyway, my friends, I wish you a lovely day and I'll see you to my next video. Bye.